All right, welcome to Dagnabbit Boys, The Slab, Part 2. You thought the last one went on for too long. This one's going to be an extra 30 minutes of extra slab.
Welcome to Slabtober, happening all of March. We are talking about everybody's favorite part of the podcast, the great American slab. And by American, we mean South, Central, all of North America and Canada, baby.
Yes, sir. We're going to put it up. If you didn't watch the last episode, America is going to be filled with, there's concrete. It's going to, it's going to raise America up 20,000 feet in the air, the size of the biggest mountain in America, Mount McKinley.
Was it McKinley?
It was McKinley.
It was Mount McKinley, the peak of Mount McKinley, 20,000 feet high.
And and in the middle of the concrete, there'll be tunnels dug, and it'll be referred to as hell, and all of the people will live in there. And above, it'll be heaven.
I really wish this podcast was so narrative-based that, you could not just start watching it.
Yeah.
Because we're close to episode 60 or something. But I wish it was at the point where, you have to start at 1.
Yeah.
Because to this point, we'd be talking about, the gremlins in hell are eating the bugs, and the people up top are frying eggs on the ground because it's so hot.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, what is this?
We'd be kind of the Wire of podcasts.
Yeah. A podcast like The Wire.
You have to put on subtitles because you got to follow the dialogue really closely.
I was in a locker room today at a gym on the west side. I hate the west side. The west side is the worst part of LA.
Okay.
It's the worst people. It's the worst food. It's a terrible place to be. And it has no cultural value in any way to the entirety of the city. And everybody that lives there is a person who is fine with the world becoming just a complete simulation of itself, and never ordering food face to face, and it's
crazy. You go into some McDonald's and you have to press the buttons to get in there, to press the buttons to order the food. You don't interact with a person at all.
McDonald's spent $1 billion on those machines, I think.
That's crazy.
Isn't that funny that those machines cost $1 billion and there's still people who starve?
Yeah.
They're like, we got to make sure people don't have to talk to people. I was in the locker room on the west side, and I heard actual locker room talk.
Yeah?
Which, I think to do real classic locker room talk, you have to, and I'm not saying, that I'm some sort of evolved man without any misogyny in me. I'm cool to hang out with.
Yeah.
But I think classic locker room talk, you have to be, stupid and kind of boring. I think to really get into misogyny and hate, you kind of have to not have enough of yourself to talk about so you can be misogynistic. There's a guy, they were showering. They were yelling to each other through the showers, and he was like, yo, if I meet up with this girl and she doesn't suck my dick, that's a man. He was like, she's just a dude. She's just a friend if she doesn't suck my dick. And I was just thinking about that guy hanging out with that girl, where I'm just like, damn, every second of hanging out with that girl is a second lost if she's not sucking his dick. Can you imagine? How do you, I don't know how you expect to get pussy if you're so obsessed with getting pussy. How are you going to have a conversation, offer a glass of water, to have a normal...
I hate to break it to you, but those guys get the most pussy of anyone.
But I'm just how are you enough of a human to
It doesn't matter.
If you're so I need to get a blowjob immediately, you still have to make a lady
It's also not that's probably how he actually is on the dates. He didn't walk in. He's not talking to him the same way he's talking in the locker room to this woman.
Well, I know he's not talking to her like that, but I'm saying I wonder if inside his head,
it's kind of in his head, but I don't think it really is.
He's like, I have to get my dick sucked.
Also, it's just, I don't know. I feel like the way men talk about women to other men is so much different than what's in your head.
Well, yeah, that's also I think that's why it annoys me hearing it, because it's every guy with their girlfriend is a pussy.
Yeah, to some extent.
If you're
yeah.
like in love, you're like being a fucking pussy. Because if you're acting like some sort of badass with your girlfriend, you're like a dick.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's true.
Like if you're just like, let's skip the conversation and fuck. It's like, no, you're gonna cuddle her and you have some nickname and
You call her something boo.
yeah, you act
like Boogie Boo Blue.
you act like a little soft boy.
Sometimes, I mean, I don't know. I feel like
I'm not saying pussy is in like you don't stand up for yourself or whatever, but
that's when we get into a gray area where we start trying to reframe every part of masculinity as actually it's secretly gay, you know?
I'm not saying it's gay. I'm saying it's just sometimes you hear the way guys talk about their relationships and you're like, I know you're lying.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you hear any guy that's been in a marriage for a long time, essentially they're just like, yeah, I don't fight, you know. If she's
it's kind of like when you're upset about a woman and then next time you see your friends you're like, "Man, that bitch was fucking crazy. I'm so glad." But in your inside you feel bad, you know?
yeah, you're like, I don't want to fight with her.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad. I don't think any man really wants to fight. Just like, oh, let's stop. Like
I'm sure some do.
The main advice you get from older dudes about having a successful marriage is to not try and win arguments. Any guy that's been in a marriage for a long time is like, stop trying to win the fight. Just understand what your wife is upset about. And if you feel like you have something to apologize for, apologize. And then give her as much time as she needs. And then keep living your life. But then there's some guys like, you know, like especially on podcasts and stuff where they're like, I set a precedent. I'm like, precedents don't exist. When it comes to emotions and the way people feel, precedents are loose. You know what I mean? You can't bring up a precedent in a fight. You can't be like, we said this. And then she's going to be like, I'm not mad anymore because of the precedent.
Yeah.
It's like, no, if somebody's upset, even if you disagree with them being upset, as much as you don't want to, you still have to be like, okay, why are you upset? How much of this am I going to apologize for? How much of this should I apologize for? All of it? Okay. Sounds good.
I think the way to handle those situations is to never admit that you're wrong. To just always, it's always the other person's fault.
No matter
no matter how bad what you did is, you can find a way in your brain to rationalize it. And that's what I do every time.
Okay. So let's do an example.
Yes. Okay.
So I'll pretend to be your wife.
Yes.
So you've been with this. No. We're not kissing right now. I'm really upset at you because when we were at.
Are you going to suck my dick? Are you
no,
gonna blow me?
I need to talk to you about something. I'm very upset. When we were at.
Verena.
When we were at
you can
my
look me in the eyes and be upset.
I'm looking you in the eyes.
All right.
I'm not going to get lost in them. I'm going to try not to. When we were at my sister's house, Cooperina 2, I saw you in the kitchen and you grabbed her ass and told her that you wanted a piece and you don't give a fuck about me or the kids or our future and you would throw it all away for one taste of her dirty shit-covered butthole. And I'm really upset at you, and I'm considering leaving you because I don't think I can trust you, and I feel like you've probably cheated before. And I really thought you were a different man, and this calls the last 28 years of our marriage into question. We are 68.
Yes. All right. First off, bitch, right? When I told your sister...
I don't appreciate you calling me a bitch, and I don't appreciate you making your accent more Southern. Your accent is not that Southern. It's slightly Southern at best. Talk how you talk. Don't call me a bitch.
Jump off, right? Jump off. You would just a jump off to me. You know what I mean?
What does that mean?
Means you just like a piece of ass.
I'm not from the streets. I was born in the palace. We've been married for 28 years. What do you mean I'm just a piece of ass? If it was a jump off, why would you stay with me for 28 years? That doesn't even make sense. Even in your logic of me being a jump off, put the foam on the mic. Even me in your logic of just being some sort of jump off of some sort of starting place for you to, I don't know, get enough confidence, I guess, to have some sort of bottom bitch to go get more. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you stay with me and marry me?
First off, you said I probably cheated on you before. I have.
How many times? How many?
I can't even count this.
You can't even count. When did you start? Count. When did you start cheating on me?
A couple months.
We've been married for 28 years, and a couple months in, or a couple months ago.
A couple months in.
Okay, so you've been cheating on me.
I want to talk. That doesn't matter because the situation's about. So it's the situation's about your sister, right?
How often do you cheat on me?
A couple times a week. But your sister. A
couple times a week. Do you wear condoms? Sister.
Sometimes.
I've never been tested for STDs because I thought we had a closed marriage. Are these people safe? Who are you having sex with? What kind of people?
But your sister has a.
Are they tested and reliable?
Your sister was wearing this short ass skirt, right? She fucking gave me. She said
because she has a disability, so she has to wear that skirt.
She said, "Do you want to taste? I'm making brownies. You want to taste the spoon?" It's like I'll taste a little bit of your spoon. You know, it was like a whole rapport we had built up the whole night.
That's not a rapport.
We built up a rapport.
She asked if he wanted to taste the brownie batter, and then you asked to taste her brownie. That's much different. You took it to a sexual level. You've known her for 28 years. Have you had sex with her before?
Your sister...
Be honest. Be honest. Look me in the eyes. Shane?
Does it even really matter to you that much? I mean, I'm a man. We have our needs. We all have needs.
What do you mean doesn't matter to me? I've started the conversation because it matters to me.
But why?
I just found out you've been cheating on me for like 27 years. Practically 28. I don't think you even made it a couple months. How soon into our relationship, when we were just dating, we decided to be exclusive, did you cheat?
22 days?
That can't be true, honestly. You said you cheat on me a couple times a week. I bet you cheated like 3 days after we decided to be exclusive.
Hey, I was being real good. I was being real good. I was being real nice.
For 22 days.
Yeah.
And then 27 years straight of cheating on me twice a week. With multiple people?
We went on vacation.
Did you cheat on me on vacation when we were in Haiti?
Once.
You cheated on me with a Haitian resident.
It's a woman on the cruise.
She was from America.
She's from America.
It's not even exotic.
No, it wasn't. It was quick. It was cheap. I needed to get it off.
Why did you get married to me if you didn't want to be exclusive and you just want to have sex with a bunch of different people? Why would you get married?
I was different back then.
What do you mean you were different?
I thought I could handle it.
You proposed to me 3 months into being together, and I thought I met the love of my life, and I didn't know that you had probably already cheated like 70 times.
You did. How does this mean?
I didn't know that. Why would I know that?
How does this mean that I'm not the love of your life? If I'm cheating and it means nothing to me, then clearly our relationship must mean something.
No, it means you're a sociopath. Because if the cheating means nothing, it means the relationship means something.
No.
If the relationship meant yes. If the relationship meant something to you, then defiling it would mean something to you.
We got all these rules, right? You know, like
there's one rule: don't cheat on me twice a week for 27 years.
All right. So let's say there's the crosswalk's really far away, right? And you're trying to get across the street. You jaywalk?
Okay, but you understand that getting across the street is getting different pussy.
I gotta get
You don't need to.
I get headaches.
You don't need.
I got these.
A marriage is deciding to stay on one side of the street. And
who wants to be there? You can't get where you're going.
People who choose to get married I wanted to be there. I thought I was there. Turns out you're across the street twice a week. That's an insane amount of times.
More times.
So 4 times a week?
Sometimes more than 2.
Like every day?
No. If he wasn't giving me no pussy, I was maybe a couple more times. All right. Well, I mean, this woman, she doesn't seem to understand the male mindset, the male red pill. I took the red pill a couple weeks into our relationship.
You're a sex addict.
I'm addicted to the pussy.
How many different partners have you had in the last 27 years?
It's probably 800, something like that. Probably more than that.
You've had sex with 800 different people.
I can't keep count. You know, a lot of them. I don't know. I don't know their names.
Do you think you've done anything wrong? It's crazy to think about. It's crazy.
They all been above age.
Why would that matter? I don't actually believe they have been now. What's the average age of the people you're having sex with?
It's usually about the same age as me. Usually
68.
No, not right now. Right now it's probably about 20, 26. But
okay, so it's not the same age as you.
But when I was younger,
when
you
were 26, you had sex with 26-year-olds, and then as you got older, you'd never had sex with anyone the same age except me, who you probably gave a litany of disease. When was the last time you got tested?
It's a while ago.
Did you have anything?
Yeah.
What?
I had herpes.
We have herpes.
I have herpes, bitch.
I have
herpes.
I definitely have herpes.
I don't know where you got that shit. But
From you.
I
got
you
fucking some hooker.
I fucked a hooker, and I gave extra 100. Take off the condom.
So not only are you cheating on me, you're paying for sex.
Yeah.
You're such a loser.
Sometimes.
You don't even just cheat on me. You actually go out and have to pay for it. And then paid extra money to fuck a hooker with no condom when you're a married man.
It feels better.
I honestly feel dumb for never finding this out. This is crazy.
We met on the apps.
What is that? Why would I? What?
We met on the apps. You're trying to be crazy. You're trying to be crazy about this shit.
You're acting like that.
You said on the profile you wanted a guy with blue eyes.
We didn't meet on the apps. We met 28 years ago before cell phones existed. We met in high school. We were high school sweethearts.
I was sweethearts with a lot of girls in high school. Just because of my blue eyes.
Okay, I'm going to divorce you and I'm going to take the kids.
Try it.
I know you.
Try.
I know you don't care.
They aren't mine, bitch. Those kids ain't mine. We're doing a DNA test. Take the kids.
I haven't cheated on you.
Bullshit. You listen to Andrew Tate?
No. Who is that? What's happened to you?
He's just a sick-ass human trafficker, right?
Oh, my God.
He says women cheat, and that you got to cheat before you're cheated.
I didn't cheat on you.
Bitch, look me in the eye. Did you cheat on me? I don't give a fuck. I'm just the type of man I am. I don't give a fucking fuck.
All right,
look at me in the eye.
I cheated on you one time.
Bitch!
10 years ago. With 20 guys at once.
That makes me so fucking mad.
I've only cheated on you once, but I'm sorry I cheated on you with 20 guys at once.
Bitch. That's crazy.
Stop calling me bitch. All I did was cheat on you with 20 guys at once and film it, then upload it to Pornhub.
Oh, that might have been one of the 20 guy gangbangs I've jerked off to.
Yeah, you probably didn't recognize me.
I probably didn't recognize you because I can't even
look at you. Which is crazy.
I can't even look at you anymore. Anyway, I need a Zen.
How do you not know what your wife looks like?
I just can't even. You sicken me. You fucking sicken me.
All right, I'm leaving. I'm quitting our couples podcast that's been running for 27 years. I don't care anymore. I don't care about you.
Oh, you don't want to give anything to the audience. The audience usually watches our podcast for relationship advice. Now it's all going to come around. And I got the secret Patreon podcast where I tell men how to cheat. And thousands of men have reached out to me and were like, I would have never cheated if it wasn't for you.
That's awful.
They said they would never even considered it until they realized how easy it was.
You've had such a net negative on the world. Do you know that?
I've probably made more men cheat on their girlfriends than anybody in history.
God, you're a bad person.
I give cigarettes to kids.
Stop stomping. We have downstairs neighbors. Do you know?
Will you take me back?
Do you know? Absolutely not. We should definitely get divorced. We should have never been married.
Guess I gotta get back with Kendall.
Who's Kendall? When were you with Kendall?
A couple years ago.
You had a girlfriend?
I've had a couple.
Oh my God. You've had like multiple. Not only are you cheating on me, you've been through like multiple relationships.
And that same woman tried to claim I gave her herpes.
You probably did. You probably did. You fuck hookers with no condom.
You women are always trying to say it's me that gave you the fucking STD. Have you considered maybe these other bum fucks you've been fucking?
No, the 20 guys I fucked 10 years ago were all tested.
Tested for what? Bitch ass?
Sociopathy.
I've been tested for that shit. That shit wrong. I failed the shit.
They all got psychological tests just to make sure they had the mind of a maniac.
That's some real shit, though. Anyway, that was a fun little experiment. I feel like I showed you just now the type of ways my brain can work in order to defend the sometimes heinous actions I'm capable of.
You didn't really defend. You didn't really create an argument.
I feel like
you just
make a comment underneath the podcast if you think that maybe that thing I just did really made you think a different way.
Well, usually there wasn't even really any manipulation. You didn't really like turn it on me
Bitch, shut
in
the
any
fuck
way.
up.
No, I'm Cooper again.
Oh, okay.
Don't call me a bitch. I'm Cooper.
Okay,
You can't call
Cooper.
me a bitch.
Okay, Cooper.
Yeah. No, you can't kiss me either. That's a whole other person.
But I could have kissed you when you were Cooperina.
Yeah, obviously I'm your wife. But honestly, no, because we're getting a divorce.
Well,
Or they are.
yeah. Cooperina and
Shane, but a different Shane.
Shane, both with two E's.
Shaney. What if you had a sister named Shaney?
What if I did have a sister named Shaney?
What are your sister's full names?
Oh, I'll tell you that. Oh, easy question.
Hey, real quick.
What's your mom's maiden name?
I've been trying to find a job. Every job online is a scam.
Yeah, you looking at Craigslist and shit?
I'm looking at like every job site there is, and there's like no real jobs. Every job is like, we are a clay company looking for a content writer, but the writer needs to have 5 years experience writing about clay.
Yeah.
And you're like, that doesn't exist. This is not real. And then there's also stuff where it's like you can get paid to take surveys. And it's really funny because you'll spend 5 minutes on a survey and then they'll go, oh, you're not eligible for the survey. You can't get paid for this one. And then you do another and you do 5 minutes of that and they go, you're not eligible for this survey. You can't get paid for this one. And I was like, I could spend an hour doing this and never get to complete a survey, but you complete a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Like I did almost all of an entire survey and then they were like, yeah, you're not the right fit. I was like, what a beautiful scam.
Yeah.
I answered like 15 questions about toilet paper until they were like, actually, we don't want these answers. And I was like, wow.
We got what we needed.
Yeah.
And it turns out we didn't need it at all.
It's like crazy.
I mean, you should be trying to get a job as like a teamster. Run a union.
Run a union?
Yeah.
A union boss?
Yeah.
That's like a whole life.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. Do you not think that you could be a fucking union boss?
I mean, it's weird to go straight to union boss before I've ever been a part of any union.
You could do it. What is it? You got a creative writing degree?
Yeah, I want to have a career in stand-up. I don't want to devote a bunch of time.
You got a creative writing degree. You got a BA and BS, right? You can be a fucking teamster.
Hey, BS. Come on. I took a poetry class.
Yeah?
That ain't BS.
Yeah, that's not. Poetry's beautiful.
Poetry's beautiful. I got a degree in things that are beautiful. And it turns out,
it doesn't matter.
As I knew, that you do not get hired for beautiful skills. You get hired for really boring. You don't even really get hired, I think, for like financial. You get hired for like specific certifications in like Google, Excel, and spreadsheets, and Microsoft, and like specific computer programs. If you have a certification in them, can get you hired.
Yeah.
But, and I don't really, like Google, you can take a data analysis course and that will set you up to get hired as a data analyst. And I think if you took that course, you would have a better chance of getting a job than getting almost any other degree. Now, Of course, there are exceptions where if you pass the bar, you can work in a law office, or if you have a medical degree, you can maybe get an internship. But like literally besides that, I don't know any degree that would be more useful than like 4 certifications you can get online. As far as I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, but it can't make you a teamster like a degree in poetry could.
I don't think a degree. I think actually no degree is better for getting in a union.
Interesting.
My mom's in a union.
Yeah. She wasn't in a union with your dad when they got divorced.
No, yeah, she dissolved her union with my father.
You feel so stupid right now, don't you?
No,
You didn't think I would come up with that.
It's pretty funny. It doesn't really make me feel stupid.
Does it make you feel bad?
No.
Does it bring up bad memories?
No.
Well, I fucked up.
I mean, I guess, yeah, the memories of it aren't positive, but when you said that, I wasn't, like, taken back and put in a bed. I thought it was a pretty clever joke.
All right.
Yeah, I think
I'll
you're
sit on
funny.
some more divorce jokes and see if I can really hurt your feelings with them.
I don't think we would have to live in like a lot nicer world for me to feel like it was okay to be openly upset about my parents' divorce. You know? Even if I talk about my parents' divorce, I'll talk about it in therapy like, oh, I guess that did affect me.
Yeah. Well, some guys like me, our parents didn't get a divorce, and I mean, I'm doing much better than you're doing.
Yeah, you had a really easy life.
Yeah, my life's been simple. I lived in Pacific Palisades, and then we moved to what is it called? Dorchester in Boston. We wanted to see how the broke lived. We lived in Brownsville, and we wanted to change up Brownsville in Brooklyn.
You had such an easy life. You got to like see the police came to your house.
They were just chilling.
That's how easy of a life you had, that you had cops inside of your home. Like, that's the safest home I can imagine.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that your parents had a good marriage. The cops never came to my family's home. That's why my parents got a divorce. Because the cops were never there to protect the marriage. But the cops would come to your house to make sure that your parents had a good marriage and that they were good parents, which they did, and they were. And that's why you had an easy life.
Damn. That's so funny. I hope my sisters listen to this episode. They would think that's really funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
there's nothing funny about how easy your life is.
I got a bunch of books of poetry from the library recently. It's always so funny to just order.
You're trying to get a job?
I'm trying to get a job as a Teamster.
What poetry?
I got some E.E. Cummings and William Carlos, John Berryman.
William Carlos Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I forgot to tell you.
What?
You know those plums you had in the fridge?
Yeah.
I ate them.
Fuck. God damn it.
They were so sweet. And so juicy. I love that poem.
My roommate said that poem like ruined poetry.
Why?
He says it's a really good poem, but it ruined poetry.
Because of like how there's a lot of poems now that are like, yeah, because I think what's like interesting about that poem is like it's sort of a surface level description, but there's sort of a lot under it.
Yeah.
Is he saying it ruined it because people were like, I want to do that, and then they were just like, I walked to the store and bought a baguette, and you're like, well, no, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
That's an amazing poem because he actually added weight. The action itself of eating plums is simple, but there's somebody else's plums, the way he enjoyed them,
Yeah.
the sort of tone of remorse, but also like being honest with yourself about it. And it's like, how bad does he feel? How does that reverberate in other ways throughout like, there's actually so much being said.
Yeah.
But then you have like the famous Rupi Kapoor who got dragged on Twitter, as they say, for having a book that was just like, he flung my underwear off.
Is that Milk and Honey?
Yes.
Yeah, Milk and Honey is really bad.
It's the best poetry book ever written. And she doesn't even have a degree in that.
Oh.
She might actually.
I mean, if she doesn't have a degree, then that means that you're more educated in poetry than she is.
It was really weird being in a poetry class because poetry is a really weird thing to have it be critiqued. Even weirder than comedy.
Yeah.
Because there's still a metric for comedy of like, usually it's never really critiqued, but almost every set, if you wanted to, could kind of call it a critique of laugh or don't laugh. But in poetry, it's sort of like what makes a good poem is kind of ambiguous.
Yeah.
And then I would just present it to a Chinese exchange student who was very serious and only wrote about the Yangtze River and a militant lesbian. And they would just find ways to say that actually my poem is really bad. I had a joke about it. I think I've told you the time that they said a poem I wrote wasn't even a poem.
That's really funny.
Yeah, because I was talking about working on a boat. So I compiled like 4 quotes, and then I had like an end line that I wrote. But it was like kind of mostly quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like cited some fucking asshole. When people cite something, they act like they're citing God.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're just citing another human,
Yeah.
by the way. She cited some guy that was like, if you have more than 3, like if there's more quotes than there are actual lines of the work, then it's actually just not a poem.
That's, yeah, like, isn't there found poetry, though? Like, there's a lot of, like, conflicts with that.
I think just like, and really trying not to be an asshole, it's like, I think the immediate conflict is like, but I called it a poem.
Yeah.
And I'm the author. I didn't call it a book. I didn't call it a recitation of quotes I heard.
You can call it a recipe.
It's not a recipe for a conversation.
Yeah.
It's just a poem. I'm calling it a poem, and me calling it a poem is asking you to read it as a poem and to take these quotes and to transfer them into what they're being viewed as now, not as what they existed in reality, and then giving you a last line of my analysis. So the last line is then, okay, you're reading it, you're feeling it, you're hearing my analysis, now you're feeling me in the situation, I'm taking you to a place. That's how I want you to feel. And then she pretty much just said no.
Hmm.
And then I'd read her poems. And they were long. They were so long. And it was all just nature. And I don't need every poem to be about fucking New York.
Yeah.
And how the cars are loud or whatever. I don't need that. I don't need it to be some beat poem. But I will say that her saying that my poem was not a poem because there was so many quotes, it's like, well, in a lot of ways, your poem describing nature is in some ways unoriginal.
Yeah.
Because a person describing a river, describing a sunset, describing the way it weaves through the country and unites the heart of the land has been written forever. It's also like these poems sound like they would be released by the fucking CCP. Like, this just sounds like some sort of propaganda poem at a certain point. Like, where is you in this poem? You're not even a viewer in this poem, practically. I guess you are. But it's like, there was such a detached nature to the whole thing. It was like AI.
Yeah.
It was like, write a nature poem. And then it would just read it. And it did suck. And it is hard to review poetry.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I feel so stupid reading poetry sometimes, where I'm like, I know what I really like. I know when I really like a poem, but that's about it.
Well, I think there's a thing where you can read a poem and you can not do a deep analysis of it, and you can just feel whatever you feel off the bat. And you can argue that that's wrong because sometimes you do a deep analysis and then you go, oh, they actually meant this and I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
And so you could say that the deep analysis, what you feel after that, is the correct version. I also think you could argue that the way you feel after you first read a poem without a deep analysis is also correct. Because you read it.
Yeah, the poetry that I feel like was most beneficial for me, I read The Flowers of Evil in 3 different translations at the same time. I would read one poem in one translation, and then I would read it again in the other, and then I would read it again in the other. And I felt like I gleaned so much by reading it in different words so many times. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's a lot to be gleaned from really rereading a poem, but I also think poems are such a direct, emotion-driven art form that what you get from the first read is also important to think about.
Yeah.
You know? And I think some people will write a really monotonous, deep, vague poem and then be like, you didn't get it. And it's like, well, I read it and I hated reading it.
Yeah.
So I can read it again and I can do research that you need to enjoy this poem. But I can also tell you right now, before I do that, that you wrote a boring, monotonous piece of shit. And that was how I felt reading every single one of her poems, where it's like my first thought when it would be like, okay, what do you think? I wanted to be like, it was really fucking long, and you just talked about mountains again, and I don't know if we're talking about invoking emotion, I don't know why you think anybody would give a fuck about this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like, it seemed like we were playing two different games, where I was trying to evoke emotion, or to put you into space, make you feel something. She was trying to impress you with the structural components of the poem, where it's like, I want you to read a poem, and then however you feel, if you like how you feel, then you like the poem. But with her, it seemed like she wants you to read the poem and then go, I really liked the way that you did, and then list off a bunch of things they would say in a poetry class about 5 things a poem needs. Where it's like, you want to check all these boxes, and then for me to be like, well, this is technically an A+ poem.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, I'm bored out of my fucking mind.
All right, let's play a game. Text me her name, and I'm going to look her up on Instagram.
I don't know her name. I'll never know her name.
Okay.
She was also, we've talked about this before, but she was the person in class who wrote a poem about how stand-up comedians are bad people. After I talked about being a stand-up comedian. Which I always think is funny, to be an artist and then be like, this entire art form is bad. And it's like, that's really anti-artistic of you. I almost felt like her poems were anti-artistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's some people who are like, I'm going to try and compress poetry down into a science. And then if I do that, they'll be good poems. And I'm like, they're just not going to be. It's like people who are like so boring and shitty, but they're like, but these are solid jokes.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, technically.
Yeah, I mean, if you're only focused on the technical and like structural aspects of it, it's like, who gives a fuck?
I really hate a technical artist.
Yeah.
Like, I think you do need to start with form and technique and understanding the basics of any art form you're into. But eventually you need to find yourself within that technique. And there's some people who just go really into the technique and they go, this is good. And you go, you haven't looked for yourself in any of this.
Yeah.
You haven't tried to insert yourself in any of this form or technique. It doesn't even mean breaking it. It just means how can you use it?
Why are you even doing it?
What are you what are you getting out of this? Because it's like, if you want to approach art this way, then go be a scientist. Follow the scientific method. There are clear steps to get to an objective, or as close as you can call something, objective result of a test. But all of your poems, or all of your paintings, or all of your songs are essentially just tests. You're trying to experiment to get to some perceived idea of perfection in what is purely a subjective art form.
And what's weird about stand-up is I feel like stand-up is it's like bad if it's perfect, you know? Like, I feel like if you say everything perfectly, it's not like, I don't really feel like people want some humanity to be shown, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Louis is a perfect example. I mean, not everything in there is completely perfect. It's all worked out, you know? But there's just this messy humanity to it.
Yeah, and also, like, I think his style, at least off the bat, is a little hard to pin down. Like, you kind of have to watch him maybe more than once or over 10 minutes to realize he sort of has a defined style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, like, when you're first watching him, it just does feel like you're just hearing somebody speak. Or, like, prior. Like, it just feels like you're just, oh, this guy's just funny. And what he's doing is he's masking the fact that he's actually delivering a very well-crafted joke in a very refined style.
Yeah.
That then results in a natural feeling. But there are some people that have such a defined style that's so unnatural. It's like, I was on a show with a comic who was, they would say on all of their punchlines. You know those comics that say when people laugh?
Yeah.
So they'd be like, yeah. And then we went to Chili's for Valentine's Day. And they get to this point where it almost becomes aggressive the way they say where after every sentence they'll be like, yeah, and I really suck. And it's like ending this, and it's like this, like I was watching them and I was waiting to go up, and I counted, they said 22 times in 3 minutes.
Mm.
And it's like, that's like when you're at the point where it's like you've actually trapped yourself in a way of speaking.
I bet I can guess what mic this was, but I'm not going to say it. I bet I can guess.
It was a show, and I won't name
show.
names, and I won't name the show, and it's, you know, none of that's, I'll tell you after. None of that's important.
Yeah, so if you want to find out this info, you're going to have to become friends with us.
You're gonna
Which
have
you
to become
all
friends.
probably are. So you can just ask us when you see us.
But maybe you think we're friends and we're not.
Maybe. Yeah. Shout out. Shout out to all the fake friends we have.
Well, you know how some podcasts have a lot of fans, and the fans of the podcast feel like they're actually friends with the host, even though they've never met the host?
Yeah.
We have a different thing where the people who watch our podcast have met us and think they're our friends, but they're
Like
actually
Eli.
not.
Like Eli.
But they're not.
But Eli isn't actually our friend.
Well, he's a bad person.
I mean, I just don't like Eli.
Why would you? How?
Eli's going to be listening to shit on his headphones.
How could you?
I mean, I just don't like him. I don't like how he looks. I don't like how he smells.
It's like liking the devil.
Yeah. Oh, God, don't you hate it when you try to go into a place and Eli's there?
And you're like, oh, I didn't know I was in hell.
Yeah.
I must be in hell. The devil's here. The wicked devil.
I guess I must have went down to Georgia because here's the devil.
Am I in Georgia? Shit, I'm in Georgia. There's the devil. Hey, devil.
Are you looking for a soul to steal?
Not gonna steal mine, fucker.
I mean, if Eli did try to have a person sucking contest, we'd lose. Like just being a bad guy, we'd lose to Eli.
We would lose handedly, which is crazy because we suck.
No one likes us really.
We're
It's
not
crazy.
likable. We're not handsome. We have bad
Hey,
attitudes.
We are handsome. It's just that's the only thing we have.
I just want to be more than just handsome.
I mean,
Because
that's
if
why
you're just handsome like us, but you act like a fool, you ain't nice, you're lonesome, ornery, and mean.
Yeah.
Then people start to hate how handsome you are. Where if
they
we
resent it. It's like the handsome becomes a handicap.
Well, it's not just a handicap. It's people go, yeah, I hate him. He's just some dick hot guy.
Yeah.
But if we were nice, people wouldn't even talk about how we're attractive because they'd be like, oh, we're so nice. And then people that hate us would be like, people only like them because they're handsome. But that's not true.
Yeah.
We'd be so nice. That's why people like us. But we're not nice.
We're so mean. You know the way people talk about us, they say we're standoffish. That's how we're referred to, as standoffish.
Who told you that?
I can just tell.
Okay, so you said the way we're referred to is standoffish, which is a very specific word usage that would...
Well, I can tell because it's just whenever somebody wants to talk to me, I'm just kind of like, oh, yeah. You know, like
you're being
I don't
a
really
hot guy.
I just don't really give a shit about you, you know? I only really care about what's going on up here in my hot guy brain.
Yeah, what do you think about usually as a hot guy?
How I'm going to Venice Beach earlier the next day.
Yeah, what do you like to do at Venice as an attractive guy?
Talk to women.
Does it go well?
Always.
Every time?
Every single time.
And by go well, you mean you take them back to your Venice Beach apartment and you have sex with them?
I would call it making love.
Is it good sex? Do they like it?
I would call it making love.
Is it good love making?
Yes.
Do they come?
It's bad sex, but it's good love making.
Okay, so
they come.
So what does that mean?
It means that
You
they
fuck
feel
'em.
very that I make them feel very wanted and, comfortable and safe, and it's just through my presence,
So you as an attractive man that women want to be with and men want to be, you have deep passionate sex with women that makes them come hard. You have deep passionate love making sessions with women that you meet on Venice Beach Boardwalk, and you make them come hard.
Yeah.
And people resent you for that?
A lot of the men there.
If you could compare...
A lot of surfer dudes.
If you could compare a celebrity to the type of women you have sex with, or a celebrity that you just simply have had sex with, if you're okay kissing and telling. Who's a celebrity?
I'm not going to talk about the celebrities I've had sex with.
I'll talk about it.
No, I'm not going to. I can tell you after the podcast. Because these people aren't our friends.
I'll tell you a celebrity I've had sex with.
Who is it?
Billy Baldwin.
Oh.
And Steven.
Oh, that's cool.
And Alec.
I haven't had sex with any of the Baldwins.
At the same time.
I haven't had sex with any of them.
One night in Paris.
But yeah, if I had to compare any of the women I sleep with, I would say just prime Angelina Jolie.
So when you say prime, do you mean in 5 years?
Yeah, I mean when she gets way older, yeah. Because women don't become beautiful until they're...
60.
The most beautiful women are from 30 and up. Any woman under 30 is not beautiful.
I think women really become beautiful around 75.
Yeah. I would say that they're very beautiful then, but from any age from 30 to 108, they're beautiful.
108. That's a specific number.
Well, that's because most women die before 108.
Is that true?
Let's look that up.
That's so sad if that's true.
I don't like that, they're dying at all. Let's see.
How do we stop women from dying? What's the average age of death for women in America? Let me guess. 86. Nope. 84. Nope. 82.
80 years old.
Wrong.
74 is average for men.
Damn. So we only got a few years left.
They have the orgasm gap, but we die. So maybe if women started having orgasm as much as men, they'd die.
The orgasm gap, as in they have less orgasms than us?
Yeah, and we have more.
There's no way that's true.
I mean, I've noticed... Yeah,
women come every time they have sex with a guy.
Women come multiple times.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they live longer.
They don't lie about it. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But women, they do that little shaky thing when they come.
Why would a woman ever lie about orgasming?
I don't think women lie about anything.
No.
I think men lie.
Oh, yeah.
We love it.
Oh, yeah.
Like when we say I love you and stuff.
Oh, gosh. To feel love would be amazing, but I can't. So I have to lie.
Yeah.
I have to look at somebody I'm supposed to love.
And you can't admit that it's just you feel nothing.
And when I say I love you, it's parentheses, I'm supposed to, end parentheses, love you.
But when I say I love you to a dog, I mean it.
Because it's man's best friend.
Yeah. And your wife is supposed to be your best friend.
But that's the greatest trial of a man, is that you can't have sex with your best friend. And the only free men are those that have sex with dogs.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at a juicy dog dick and that little pink thing coming out, you just want to suck it.
When your wife asks you, are we best friends? You say, no, the dog's my best friend, but I can't have sex with the dog. And that's why I want to kill myself. Don't you get it? Isn't it simple enough, lady?
Yeah. My wife did walk on me butt fucking our dog one time.
Did you still come?
Did I come?
Yeah.
The dog came.
The dog came?
Dog came.
The dog came from anal penetration?
It's a male dog.
The dog came from prostate stimulation that you gave it?
Yeah. Apparently it feels like if you're getting, I didn't give it a reach around because apparently it feels much better if you're not like touching the penis at all.
Did you start slow?
I did.
Did that affect your marriage?
No.
How did your wife react when she walked in on you having anal sex with your dog?
She said, hot dog.
What part of the house were you in?
It's in the living room.
You had anal sex with your dog in the living room of your family home. Do you have children?
Yeah.
Were the children home?
They're in the living room.
They saw it? They were witness?
They were too young.
How old were they?
8.
That's old enough to remember.
Shit.
Did they say anything?
They said no. When was this? Stop, dog.
When was this?
Hurting the dog.
When what?
They didn't know.
When was this?
A couple weeks ago.
And your wife walked in and said, hot dog?
She said, hot dog.
Was she upset at all?
No. She was just an exclamation.
So did you finish?
Yeah.
Did she leave the room or remain in the room?
She went and did some dishes.
Did your children stay in the room?
Yeah, they're playing Roblox.
Has that affected your relationship with your children since then?
They don't really talk to me that much anymore.
Did they talk to you before then?
Yeah.
Do you think them not talking to you has to do with you having anal sex with a dog in the living room in front of them while they played Roblox?
No.
I think it does.
Well, then that would make me a real bad parent, wouldn't it?
Can I speak from my own? I think it would. Can I speak from my own perspective?
What?
I think if my father had anal sex with a dog in the living room while I played Roblox and I was witness to it and I asked it to stop and said hurting dog, I would not like my father. I would think he was an evil, demented man who did sick things to our family dog. And I think that's what your children...
Well, I bring home the bacon.
How much money do you make a year?
$25,000.
That's not a lot of money. You have a house?
We have an apartment with a studio.
Oh, so you don't even have a living room.
We have a bathroom.
How many beds do you have?
1.
Do you sleep in the bed with the children?
They sleep on a cot.
You have 2 children that have to sleep on 1 cot?
Yeah.
And you have a dog?
Dog sleeps on the bed.
And you had sex with a dog in a studio apartment with your children there?
They're playing Roblox.
And then your wife walked in the front door of the studio apartment and saw you and said, hot
She
dog?
got back from work.
Where does she work?
Slavery.
She's a slave?
Yeah, she's a slave.
Wait, so her shift ended? She has shifts still?
They're allowed to have husbands and stuff.
So is it a studio apartment or you live in a slave house?
We have a studio.
Where's the studio?
Culver City.
On a plantation?
No.
Where's the
Dumbass.
plantation?
It's up in Ventura.
She has to drive to go be a slave?
Yeah.
Why would you keep driving there?
She has a collar.
How long? Connected to like a long leash?
No, she has a collar and it's connected. It'll like explode her head if she doesn't go every day.
How'd she get into this kind of situation?
It's an accident.
She thought she was applying to a normal job, and then she showed up and they put a collar on her and said, if you ever don't come back, your head will explode, but you're allowed to go home to Culver City every day where you live in a studio apartment with your husband who fucks a dog in front of the children in the studio apartment while they play Roblox and are witness to it?
No.
No?
I like to gamble.
Is that how you make your money?
No, I lose a lot.
What is your job?
I work at a laundromat.
So your wife has to do this until she dies?
Yeah, I lost gambling.
You work at a laundromat?
I work at a laundromat.
Because usually laundromats are just like somebody owns it, and then they just sort of...
I'm one of the guys that make sure people don't take change.
You just stand by a change machine?
Yeah, I can't let people get out with change because that's the laundromat's change.
And you make $25,000 a year?
That's with added gambling money.
How much do you make gambling? Wait.
10. But I also lose. I lose.
Wait. You make $10,000 gambling, which means you make $15,000 a year at the laundromat?
I make 20.
You make $20,000 a year at the...
I lose 5.
You lose 5. You make 10, wife. You lose 5.
And a wife. Wife has to be a slave.
Wait, that's... Did you lose a bet that made your wife a slave?
Yes.
So you were gambling with a guy that owns a plantation in Ventura, and you bet your wife's freedom?
It's Go Fish.
You were playing Go Fish for your wife's freedom?
It's playing Go Fish.
And then you lost, and now she has to have a collar?
He had a really good offer.
Where was this game? Was this like an illegal table game? It must have been. I can't imagine.
It was in Koreatown.
So you were playing an illegal gambling game in Koreatown? You were playing an illegal game of Go Fish in Koreatown where you were betting against the owner of a plantation, and you lost, and then he gained control of your wife, but she's still allowed to live at your house in Culver City, but has to drive to Ventura every day to work on a plantation. And when she's not at the plantation, she has a collar on her head that will explode if she doesn't come back to work at the right time?
Exactly.
That's such a dark life. And you have sex with the dog.
Yeah, I calmed down that way. I had never done it before until a couple weeks ago.
You had never done it before?
I had never.
Oh my God. So you've really kind of like lost your mind.
No. My kids won't talk to me, though, so maybe I will soon.
Do you have sex with your wife in the bed in front of your kids in the cot in the studio apartment in Culver City?
Yeah, but it's hard to, like, kiss her because of the collar.
How big's the collar?
Collar's huge.
Is it like a saw mask that, like, goes around her head? Like, will it, like, how does it kill her? Does it have bombs on it?
It'll, like... She has like wires all over her face and stuff, and it'll send electricity up through the face into the brain. It'll destroy the brain.
How does she eat? Can she eat through the wires?
IVs.
She has to get IV sustenance to stay alive, so she can't even eat?
No.
So when she comes back from a long day, she has to like get a bag of sustenance to put in to like inject in her arm?
Daughter helps.
The daughter helps her do it?
Yeah.
Does the daughter have a conception of her life that she's a slave?
She said, yeah.
And is this for the rest of your wife's life?
Yeah, that was established.
That's like so dark.
The
This is
GoFish,
happening in California?
the GoFish game, if I had won, I would have got a lot.
What would you have gotten? Yeah. What would you have gotten
Bugatti.
if... What?
Bugatti.
He would have given you a Bugatti?
Not like a good one, but like one of them.
Like a broken Bugatti?
Like an old one.
Would you have sold it?
No.
That really would have been the good idea, though, because you could maybe get a house, maybe not in LA proper, but if you sell the Bugatti, even an old one, you would have...
It was a really old one.
How old?
It's like one of the oldest ones you can get.
Okay, well, that could be worth a lot of money, too. A vintage, like, one of the
He
first...
wrote his name on it. There's his name is on the side of it.
Like in spray paint?
It's the, yeah.
Like
Big Tim Slavery Warehouse, which is the name of his.
Because Bugatti is like an old brand.
Well, he did completely ruined it, kind of, so I couldn't really sell it for that much. Because it just has slavery written on it.
So he got like one of the most famous car companies in the world, one of the original models, as if like you have like an original Model T, which would also be worth a lot just because of the vintage aspect. And then instead of like taking care of it, he tried to use it as some sort of promotional device, which is weird. Why is he promoting and it's in a warehouse, you said?
That's what he calls the field, is a warehouse.
What do they grow?
Just normal beans.
Beans?
Beans.
She's a bean slave?
She's a bean slave.
She's a slave for beans. You sold
your wife... He has like
wife
one of the biggest beans companies. Well, he works for them. He works for
Goya?
He works for Goya.
So she farms beans as a slave for Goya?
Yeah, a lot of people do it, apparently.
I feel like you should contact authorities or get a lawyer.
I tried.
There's a huge
I tried. They said go fish. They said the go fish thing that I can't.
I don't think that's legally binding.
He won in Goldfish.
There's no contract.
I talked to him.
You understand that slavery is illegal.
I asked him to hook me up with a lawyer, and he gave me one, and the lawyer said that there's nothing he could do. So I haven't really checked with any lawyers. He said the other lawyers he would tell him.
You should really check with a lawyer. It's like in the Constitution. You know Abraham Lincoln? He was a president for a little bit.
Well, he showed me the Constitution. He has a real one. Apparently, it's been crossed out.
They didn't cross
it out. He said they crossed it out because of private prisons.
Well, no, that's like a loophole.
Well, he said
she's not a prisoner.
No, she's not. She's not a prisoner. I mean, unless you consider that he did say part of the reason he could do it is she is kind of a prisoner because I illegally gambled on Goldfish, and that he arrested me, did a citizen's arrest, and now my wife is in jail, but it's actually slavery, and she gets to go home.
I think you're being manipulated. I know you feel okay about the situation.
What about my dog Shotgun? He gave us the dog.
He gave you the dog?
His name's Shotgun.
And then you started having sex with it?
It's a pretty dog. It's an old dog.
Oh, God. I don't know why it being old makes it even worse.
It's really old. It's 12 years old.
You had anal sex with a 12-year-old boy dog in front of your children in a studio apartment while they played Roblox, and then your wife came home from a slavery job?
It could be worse.
Is that your rationale on it? That it could be worse?
Yeah.
How could it be worse?
Well, the girl don't gotta join the farm till she like 17 or something.
No. You bet your children's life too?
I thought I could get the wife back.
What do you... Wait, so... Okay, so you lost the first bet.
I think he was...
And then you went double or nothing with your family's lives?
Yeah.
Why are you playing Go Fish, too? It's such a childish game to bet your entire family on.
He said he was good at it, and I said I could be better.
Why would he accept people? That's so awful.
Well, he's a slave owner.
How does he get the other slaves?
Go Fish.
It's all from Go Fish?
He's really good at Go Fish.
I
really fell into my own hubris there.
I mean, it's him being good at Go Fish, but it's also the willingness of so many men to bet the lives of their family on the game of Go Fish.
There's a lot of guys like me in Culver.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And you work at a laundromat.
Yeah.
How long have you worked there?
Let's see. My wife's been a slave for like 3 years.
Oh
It's
my
probably
God.
like 2 years and 11 months. I had to get a job.
Because she had to quit her job to become a slave?
She's a judge.
She was a judge?
He's a judge.
Oh my God. So
We used to live in a house. We used to live.
I was going to say,
We used to live in like a much nicer place.
can I be honest with you?
What?
This is like probably the darkest situation I've ever heard described to me.
Well, it'll be worse than like 17 years.
Your children are going to be like serial killers.
Not 17 years. It'll be
Is
9
the,
years.
is the
They're
other
gonna be serial killers. That's illegal. It's illegal,
Is
and
the other
they'll be
kid-
slaves.
is the other kid free?
No,
You bet both your children?
he said he'd give me my wife and my Bugatti if I gave both.
And then you lost.
I lost. I was bad at it.
Oh my God.
I think he was cheating. Pretty sure he was cheating.
it's like the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, but it could be worse.
Stop saying that.
It could
It couldn't.
be worse.
I don't see how it could be worse.
Well, my dad's free. My dad's not a slave.
I know, but your wife and your children are.
My mom.
And your mom?
Yeah, my mom. I tried again.
Why do you just keep betting all the women in your life and goldfish? Go
It kind of
fish.
took it took till my mom before I realized I was kind of losing.
What do you mean? You realized you were you lost? What's there to realize?
I really kind of noticed it wasn't going to get any better from here on.
So you stopped once you were about to bet your father's life?
Yeah.
You're like the most sick person I've ever met.
Well, I didn't want to lose him.
That doesn't matter. You were willing to lose him.
Could be worse.
Stop saying that. It's so bad.
My mom's not alive anymore.
She died. How'd she die?
Beans fell on her. Bunch of beans. They're
Like a
packing 'em.
truckload of beans?
They fell on her.
And she was crushed to death?
Kinda.
How often does that happen?
It's a bunch of wolves. She's crushed under. Almost couldn't breathe. Wolves got in.
Wait. So a truckload of beans fell on her and then wolves got into the plantation and ate her?
Crushed her chest. Broke all her ribs.
Where do
Broke
the wolves
most of her
come
chest.
in?
They came in. They started eating her leg. They fell on her chest, right?
And then wolves approached from the
Wolves.
hills of Ventura? There are wolves in Ventura?
They have wolves guarding the place. And
Oh, so he like sicked the wolves on her legs?
we don't know that.
I think he did.
We don't know that
I
fully.
think he did.
They gotta feed the wolves, but I don't.
Oh my God. He feeds the wolves the dead workers?
She wasn't dead.
She was still alive?
They ate her feet first,
Holy shit, dude.
and then they ate her arms. And then they tried very long to get her head. It took her a really long time to pull the head off. She was alive the whole time.
God.
And she's dead.
Oh, God. She was alive while the wolves pulled her head off?
She's alive for a very long time. She was
So-
alive while her head was getting eaten. That's what the doctor said.
Oh, bad.
She said it took a long time for her to actually die with her head off. It was real sad.
Like a chicken.
I think that's kind of offensive.
Oh, so now you feel something.
I've always felt something. I've always
You've
felt.
really been talking with zero emotion about descending.
I'm defending myself. This is really bad for me.
Not defending yourself.
This is really bad for me. I
You're-
feel really sad.
You're actually kind of agreeing with me that it's pretty bad.
It's super bad. I get sad, really sad, and then it makes
But
me
it
sad.
could be worse.
It could.
Are you still gambling?
I don't have,
Stop if you are.
I don't have much more to gamble with.
Yeah, I think when you run out of money is when you should stop.
There's people.
You shouldn't view people as an option.
There's a lot of people.
That
That'll
should
take.
just be a rule for you.
There's a lot of people that'll take people. If you don't got any money, they'll take people.
It's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Truly, I mean, really, man, that's like horrific.
Well, some people take people. You win, you get a Bugatti.
You don't need a Bugatti. You need your family back out of slavery. You should be.
Well, I don't need a
focusing
Bugatti now. We used to have a garage. We don't have a
You
garage.
should be focusing on getting them out of slavery, and you don't even have
Well,
parking.
I signed a paper.
Why?
I signed it because he said I had to. I had to sign it, be part of the gamble.
I say just don't sign it.
Well, I already did. It's already been done.
Yeah.
My kids won't talk to me. I'm afraid they won't talk to me until they become slaves.
I don't think it matters what happens to them at this point, man. You're one of the worst.
So I can keep fucking my dogs? My dog?
You know what? Maybe. I don't know what matters anymore, but yeah, I guess so, man. If that's all you're thinking about. It's crazy that's even on your mind.
Shotgun. Pretty dog. Shotgun.
All right.
Well,
thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the episode.
All right. Bye, everybody.
We tried really hard.
Yeah.